The smaller square has a side length of 15 centimeters. Determine the side length of the larger square in simplest mixed radical form. So the larger square that's surrounding the smaller square, let's call the side length here x. And then the side length of the smaller square is going to be 15 centimeters. Now, one assumption that we'll have to make here that the question does not say anything about is where this smaller square touches the larger square. The assumption we're going to make here is that these points right here, where the smaller square is touching the larger square, are at the midpoint of the larger square's side. So this point right here is in the middle of this side right here, and then same thing all the way around. So if the length from here to here is x, then the length from here to where the smaller square is touching the larger square will be x over 2, will be half of x, right? And then this length here would also be x over 2. Okay? Now, if we take a closer look at this shape we now have, we can make a smaller triangle like this. Now, in this triangle, we have a right angle right there, and this side here will be the hypotenuse. That's 15 centimeters. The length of this side here is just x over 2. The length of this side right here, well, is also x over 2. And this means that we could use Pythagoras' theorem to figure out what x is. Okay, so Pythagoras' theorem, in case you don't remember, is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the longest side in a right triangle. So we have a right triangle, the red triangle here. The longest side is 15 centimeters. And we can now replace a, b, and c with the quantities that we have. So a would be x over 2 squared, plus b, which would be this side, would also be x over 2 squared, equaling the length of the hypotenuse, 15 squared. Now if we square all these terms, we get x squared. 2 squared in the denominator will be 4, plus the same term again, and 15 squared is 225. We can combine these two like terms. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared over 4 equals 225. We can divide numerator and denominator by 2, which means we will get x squared over 2 equaling 225. And so what we want to get here is just x squared, and to do that we multiply both sides by 2. So if we multiply the left hand side by 2, we're left with just x squared. If we multiply the right hand side by 2, 2 times 225, we get 550. And then to get just x, we would take the square root of the left and right hand side, which leaves us with x equals the square root of 550. Now, that is the length of the side in the large rectangle, or the large square. Now, what we want to do, however, we want to provide our answer in the simplest mixed radical form. So we need to convert this entire radical form to the simplest possible mixed radical form. So let's look at how we can do that. We can factor 550 into two factors, one of which will be a perfect square. And we can do 225 times 2. 225 times 2 is 550. 225 is a perfect square. So we can use our product. I'm going to continue up here. We can use our product rule for radicals and rewrite this expression as two separate radicals. 225 times square root of 2. The square root of 225 is a perfect square, so it's going to be 15. And 15 times square root of 2. So our answer is that the side length of the large square is 15 times square root of 2.